When Fred Morlock and I were talking the other day about introduction of district court judges, and we were figuring out how to make this as quick as possible, and he said, "You think I should refer to each of them as the Honorable?" And I said, well, it'd be the nice thing to do, but it reminded me of a story when Judge Redwine, Phil Redwine, who you saw on the screen earlier, now deceased, was a district court judge in Wake County. And he was presiding over what we refer to as first appearances. Anyone arrested in the last 24 hours entitled to a first appearance, have their bond reviewed, and so on. We had a certain individual who came through, was one of our frequent flyers. We still have some frequent flyers on occasion, and they tend to imbibe in the spirits quite often. So this one went by the name of Major. And he appeared in front of Judge Redwine, and one day Judge Redwine said, "Major, I just let you out the other day. You're back here already." And he said, yes, sir, Judge Redwine, I am." And Redwine was curious as to why he was called Major. And he began to think, this guy who's basically on Skid Row now, do you think he had a distinguished military career? He started thinking about it, and he said, "Major, let me ask you a question." He said, "Yes, Judge Redwine." He said, "What does that name Major mean? Why do they call you Major?" He said, "Oh, Judge Redwine, it's just like that name Honorable in front of your name. It don't mean nothing." Sorry, I couldn't resist. I think by now, if you've looked at the handouts and items on your table, you figured out that this is the beginning of a series of court anniversaries in North Carolina, which we are very excited about. The 50th anniversary of District Court in North Carolina, of course, is this year. Next year, we'll be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Court of Appeals. And then in 2019, the 200th anniversary of the Supreme Court. And there'll be a lot of events, celebrations, and civics education throughout the next 4 years. And I'm pleased that we have almost the majority, or far beyond the majority, almost all of the Court of Appeals here with us today. And we thank you for being here. Looking forward to your celebration next year. I would encourage you to take those brochures with your cards and check out the www.celebratenccourts.org website. It has a lot of resources on there and a lot of historic information that you can use. And one of the things that we are doing is launching a speakers bureau for people to go out into the schools, civic clubs, to talk about the importance of the court and the rule of law. So you can go on there and sign up to volunteer as a speaker. I wanted to take just a second to thank the Wake County Bar Association for recognizing the contributions of all of my colleagues here, district court judges who have served over the years. Most of these individuals have served and devoted a significant portion, if not all, of their legal career to public service as a judge, many at great personal sacrifice. The creation of district court, as Franklin indicated, is one of the most significant changes in the way we administer justice in the state of North Carolina. And it's because of the work of all these judges and lawyers and all of us in the court system that have made our court system in North Carolina, our unified court system, a model for other states to follow. So on this special occasion, we would be remiss if we did not recognize two individuals of particular significance. As Franklin mentioned, when the district courts were created, this new experiment that there was obviously quite a bit of resistance to with the changes, nobody was really sure how this would work. And there were 5 individuals who served. 2 of those are remaining with us: Judge Henry Barnette and Judge Pretlow Winburn. Judge Barnette, I would ask that you come up and join me on stage, please, sir. Judge Winburn, who is now 93 and resides on the coast, had wanted to be here, but just as late as yesterday said he didn't think he could make the trip. But this is being videotaped, so we will share this award with Judge Winburn at a later time, and I want to make sure he hears these remarks. Most of you know Judge Barnette, and he probably doesn't need any kind of introduction, but he served as a member of the judiciary for the state of North Carolina for 32 years. Judge Barnette received his undergraduate degree at Duke University and his law degree at Wake Forest. He was licensed to practice law in 1964, and initially he served as a solicitor in the old Raleigh City Court, which was in what we refer to as the police station, the municipal building over on McDowell Street in the basement. And ironically, he appeared on a fairly regular basis in front of Judge Winburn, who was the Raleigh City judge. In 1968, he was elected to serve as one of the first district court judges. And at the time he was elected, he was the right age of age 29. And if you can imagine, in the mid-60s, running as a district court judge at age 29, that was quite an accomplishment when most of the judges were 50 and up. So he was one of the youngest judges on the bench in North Carolina. He served as a district court judge from 1968 until 1983. In 1983, he became a resident superior court judge, where he remained until his retirement in 2000. He also served as senior resident superior court judge from 1998 to 2000. During his tenure on the bench, Judge Barnette, as many of us know, presided over many important and high-profile cases which are just too numerous to mention. Now, hold tight. Judge Winburn, widely considered as one of the most well-respected and legendary judges in the history of Wake County, Judge Winburn was licensed to practice law in 1951. He was elected and served as a judge in the Raleigh City Court from 1960 to 68 when he ran for district court. And Judge Barnette told me recently that there were 20 people in the Democratic primary on the primary ballot for those 5 slots. Judge Winburn was the only one to win outright in the first vote, and then there was a runoff for the other 4 slots. He was named Tar Heel of the Week by the News and Observer in 1962. In 1968, of course, he became a district court judge, where he served until 1978. There are many stories about Judge Winburn. Some we probably shouldn't tell, some we can tell. But as I read some of these stories and was told some of these stories, the one that kept coming up more and more, and it's in Tim Tyson's book, Blood Done Sign My Name. It's in Rob Christensen's book, Paradox of Tar Heel Politics, and other places, and that is Judge Winburn, one time when serving, got upset when he convicted a young KKK member who was 17 for assaulting an elderly African-American man. And he basically unleashed on this young man and told him how wrong it was and so on. So in retaliation, the Ku Klux Klan burned a cross in Judge Winburn's yard. Judge Winburn was not home at the time, but once he arrived, he immediately rushed in the house, called his neighbors, got hot dogs, and roasted hot dogs over the smoldering fire. When he was interviewed by the newspaper, he said, "Hellfire, the least they could have done is show up while I was home." So, to Judge Winburn and Judge Barnette, it is my great honor today, on behalf of the governor of the great state of North Carolina, to present each of you with the Order of the Longleaf Pine one of the highest awards given by the governor of the state of North Carolina, which recognizes exemplary service to the state of North Carolina and the community that is considered above and beyond the call of duty. It is only given to citizens who stand out in their community for their devotion of public service. So Judge Barnette, thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.